Okay, the WNBA draft is complete. We're here. Siobhan Beslow is back, friend of the show. She's been on multiple times. She's back here. Was not very happy with the thumbnail that I drafted up. You said you wanted
Man, we got to get you a better picture of me. It's okay. It's all right. I'll take that one. I'll take that one.
Hey,
Man,
I thought it was fine. I thought it was
man,
good.
Heat Beat Brass used to use some clips of me in just like the baggiest Norfolk State uniforms. I was with Norfolk State the last year of Russell before motherfuckers moved to Nike and got fly. So yeah, we got to update the photos.
Oh wait, so when you busted my college's ass,
Yes.
you weren't yet a Nike school.
No, we weren't.
Oh,
Gave you the business in Russell
you did.
Athletics.
You did. Last summer we read off the stat line. It was a double double with a bunch of blocks, and you just didn't have enough help,
I'm gonna
unfortunately.
find it again just to bring it back.
Yeah, but Norfolk State is doing pretty good now. I
Shout
mean,
out Norfolk State, man.
yeah, yeah,
I got on old LaSalle stuff. I should have on Norfolk State stuff.
I mean, you played for both. Okay, so WNBA draft came and went.
Yes.
Very fun. A very talented draft pool. Like this one got a lot of people excited. For people who end up watching, thank you for watching. As always, questions, comments, super chats. We'll get to them throughout. We're gonna start at the very top, Siobhan, because obviously
Yep.
Paige Bueckers went number one overall. Dallas Wings, something that we've been we knew for a while that this was going to come. I'm most interested in, and I think what people are most interested in is just like how is this going to work? Because I felt like some people were like, "Hey, are they going to move on from Arike Agumbawale?" And I was
Yeah.
like, "Well, if you can't let everyone go,
Right.
and like you get Dejanay Carrington too, which I think is a very fun acquisition, not just because, Nalissa Smith is there, but I think from a basketball standpoint, like they could be pretty dynamic. What do you see in terms of we got a comment about Kaylin Chen. I do want to get to that actually. I do want to
Yeah.
get to that at some point in
Shout out her.
in the sleeper portion, perhaps, because I really liked her at UConn. But Paige Bueckers getting drafted. What's the fit, or how's the fit going to work? You think in Dallas?
Man, are we talking just on the court or like culturally?
Everything.
Because I'm on all of my platforms calling Paige the basketball Paul Wall, really. And I just feel like she's going to have an amazing time in Dallas. No, truly, truly, truly. Culturally, the culture, I'm black people, gay people, we love Paige. And one, she is incredibly talented, but two, just the care that she takes with her teammates.
Yes.
She recognizes her platform, her privilege, all of those things that we ask for in allyship from, majority groups, whatever. And yeah, I just, she has the air about her. She has the little pieces of swag. Again, she's just largely embraced, and I genuinely feel like she's basketball Paul Wall, and the city of Dallas is is really, really going to love her, going to rally around her. And on the court, I think it's almost an amazing fit. Before Olivia, said she was going back to school, I know that there was chatterings around, oh, like what if Dallas really did just take Olivia first, right, and kind of fuck it up a little bit? What would that feel like? And I understood that there, but I think Paige just works as a backcourt partner with Arike. You have areas and opportunity that you can get Arike off the ball. Paige can play off the ball. Paige can kind of help them connect a little bit of the tops and bottom portions of their offense. I feel like the Dallas teams of the past, like with the two super bigs, Big T and Kalani, and when they had, Natasha Howard and stuff, I just, Satu didn't feel like enough in the middle, kind of, bringing the two hemispheres of their offense together. I know they went through, kind of a bevy of guards in the time too. I feel like it just works. You get Arike off the ball, you have Paige, she can connect the two. Like I said, Dejanay, I think, just adds some dynamicism. I know that there are still areas of her game that are, primed for improvement and stuff, but what you get with Dejanay right now is super solid. I think Nalissa, is an interesting fit schematically with that group. And then Maddie Segrist had a hell of a Athletes Unlimited showing this summer. So I think Dallas just, they have talent, they have pieces. I think Kurt did an amazing job this offseason. I don't know, maybe we'll come back to Dallas when we get, into rounds 2 and 3 and stuff, because, I really, really liked what they did, in the later portions. But I think, Paige just makes all the sense for them. And they couldn't be more excited. Arike fell to her knees in excitement when they got the pick.
Yeah.
They've been trying not to call Paige teammate all tournament. So, like, I think all of the powers that are there, I think they're all excited about one another.
I think it's an on the court, off the court thing also. She's a dynamic player on the court, but she also has a dynamic personality that I think people are going to feed off of. You mentioned Paul Wall. I'm going to sound old. I have legitimately over there, like in the living room, where I have like a bunch of hard copy albums. People's Champ is over there.
Yep.
Legitimately. Yep. I had a Dirty South phase when I was
Paige, like, if she don't, I know Paige already has a girl. If she doesn't, like, she's gonna have a girl before she get there. It's finna be a hoot.
Yeah, and the city needs it after,
Again, and we'll come back to Dallas because, again, shout out to what they did later.
I really like what they did in the draft. Yeah. We have a couple comments about not Paige Bueckers, although Madhouse DMI asked about the Fever not getting Lucy. Seems like a no-brainer. I'm not gonna like get into that question necessarily, because we'll perhaps get to that later. But Paige is inevitably, I could speak, going to be compared to Caitlin Clark.
Sure.
I don't necessarily want to delve into those waters, but I feel like the job is the job. Impact wise, her first year, I mean, do you see a comparison? I don't think she's the exact same type of player, but
no.
I think the injuries during her college career sort of made people forget, like, hey, she was sensational right away. And if you were following high school basketball at all, she was the one in that class with Hailey Van Lith, etc. That had the most hype, and that sort of went by the wayside a little bit, and now she's gotten it back, it feels like. So how is she going to compare to Caitlin? I guess it's going to be the main thing that people are looking for. And how would you answer that?
Again, kind of culturally, right? So people that follow grassroots women's basketball hoops, they start picking it up during, like your later AAU years, later high school years, whatever, stick with their people and kind of follow through. And like you said, if you were around pre-injury, Paige was that girl out of high school, out of Hawkins. Paige was on magazine covers and followed and featured, and very much kind of like culturally, Paige is more similar to Juju than she is kind of to Caitlin, just in the noise and kind of the the hype that had been around them since high school. Maybe I was late to Caitlin, but if I was, I know many others were as well. And Caitlin. I tried to put Paige and Caitlin in the same name twice.
That'd be a hell of a player. Shit,
man, Paigelin, right? Cage. But yeah, and then coming into junior year of college, Paige, Caitlin started really, really doing the things that we kind of know Caitlin to do. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I think inevitably, like you said, that they're going to catch comparisons. Like it or not, they, we do the thing with the white players. We kind of put them up against one another, but it's just what happens. And it's really don't be much malice to it. Now, what I will say is, as far as embrace, and that gets a little bit deeper than we maybe are willing to go. But I do think generally the reception to Paige and Caitlin, from multiple demographics, are a little bit different. And it's not necessarily a good or bad thing. But for the league, I think Paige's arrival is really good to kind of tamp down and bite back a little bit at just
Yeah.
kind of some of the bullshit that came in when Caitlyn came in to no real fault of her own.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really just kind of a good rebalancing of polls. People have gotten less weird about Caitlyn, but it was very weird for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I am happy for what I know the Paige insertion to do
Yeah.
to kind of a bit of that pool.
Love the way you navigated that answer. That was beautifully done.
Thank you. Because that's a little bit of a landmine of a topic, but you have to be willing. If you want to get into it, it's there to get into, but you got to be willing to kind of hear a bunch of maybe uncomfortable truths.
On this channel is probably one of the videos that did the best, where me and Maria Marino talked about this extensively, about like what does the impact look like, and it wasn't just a basketball question.
No.
So if you do want a larger discussion about that, you can go find that from December. I think that was around the holidays, but I mean, yeah. So there's that piece of it.
Yeah.
I want to transition to Dominique Malonga because I think she's going to be sensational. I texted multiple people where I'm like, listen, I know this is going to sound crazy. And I think the world of Paige Bueckers. I think Paige Bueckers will probably win. I think Paige Bueckers will probably win Rookie of the Year, assuming health. I think Dominique Malonga could be the best player in this draft class 5 years from now.
I think
very easily. Unfortunately, some of that is like, hopefully Paige is healthy.
Yeah.
If she's healthy, then that becomes obviously very competitive. Malonga can do just a lot. She's ridiculous. If people I'm so excited for people who get to see her for the first time. Watch the FIBA stuff. Watch the overseas stuff like in EuroLeague too, but watch the FIBA stuff in particular.
Yep.
She dunks like nothing. And that's going to be the first thing that jumps out to people, but it's also the skill, the multi-positional defending, the touch that she's going to continue to develop, which I think is super scary. Not just from three, but around the rim. She's going to be a pick and roll monster at the next level. Like just as a roller. And eventually as a popper.
I was gonna say she's gonna be a hell of a pick and popper. Like she's been you're right on it.
And she's very young. I wonder if the next level, I feel like years down the line, we'll be talking about, oh, she's getting 4 assists a game now. Like this is scary, as a playmaker. So I tell me about Dominique Malonga, what you see. Do you agree with what I'm saying? And do you also think this is the right pick at number 2 for the Seattle Storm?
Yeah. Again, kind of back to and who did it? Rebecca did it so I think aggressively during the draft tonight. So yeah, Dominique went second, but again, we had a crop of people who were anticipated to come out, chose to go back or whatever. Again, one of those people being Olivia Miles. It was consensus that Olivia would have probably gone second. Seattle lost Jewel, guard, scoring, kind of all of that. And shout out to Andrea Carter, who was like, now I hear you, but I genuinely think that, Seattle may have still, it probably would have been surprising, but there's a world where Seattle maybe still does take Dominique Malonga at 2. And it's for everything that you said. She's 6'6", right? So yeah, 6'6".
Maybe 6'7".
She is so poised. She's so off the court. She's super charismatic. She's super confident. I love what she wore today. I think she is ready kind of for the moment. I know she's 19, but she talked about it. Very much like Luka was young coming into the NBA. Yeah, she's young, but they play professionally since from a very young age. She's probably been playing against professionals. I think she said it since 14.
14. It's usually 14. It's the same thing. It's same thing for people who don't know. Same thing in soccer, where like these really good players get contracts when they're teenagers. It's like that's how basketball in Europe works. If you're really good, you can get called up to the senior team as a teenager.
We have so few professional women's leagues in this country that the W and now AU Unrivaled, whatever is kind of all it is, whatever the WBL calls themselves doing. But she's played against, she's seen the competition, she's seen the size internationally. She played FIBA, she was in the Olympics. She knows what it is that she is walking into. And yeah, a pick and roll presence around the rim. She can stretch it, she can handle it. Her and Ezzy are going to be so fun together. I tweeted a little while ago. Her and Ezzy are gonna look like or feel like freaking Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. And just front court, just solid, great movers. And I expect like the bottom half of kind of their offense to be really, really pretty fluid. They still have NECA there for another year. I think I fully agree. Paige might win Rookie of the Year. Shit, Dominique might win Rookie of the Year. But maybe. I do think that 3, 4, 5 years, you're definitely like the conversation will probably be, this is Dominique's world. And some of that is, stuff that neither her or Paige can contribute or control. They don't control their measurables. You can't really control what you're blessed with physically.
Yeah.
But so many people are blessed with physical assets and gifts and talents and abilities, and they don't materialize. And I think that little baby is going to materialize so well. I'm super excited for her. And like you said, people that have not seen her. There's a guy on Twitter. His name's Alfred Cornett.
Yeah, we follow each other actually. Yeah.
He does a lot of stuff from the Liberty, but he is super big on highlighting the international people.
Yes.
Follow Alfred and like look through his stuff for Dominique. And I think she is going to be like, they were showing her highlight package in the green room. And she hit 1 3. Like she was doing all other just like good stuff. She hit 1 3 and people so like buckle up.
yeah. Players like this have not come into the WNBA.
That often. She is such a brand new breath.
Yes, I cannot wait. Jay Jordan TV so Liberty checks in. What does Seattle do this season? 6-woman question for Malonga. That is, she's okay. She's raw, but she ain't that raw.
She's not that raw.
So,
and because
how do you handle? Yeah,
Jordan Horston tore her ACL in Athletes Unlimited. I think Jordan was moved back to the bench once Gabby Williams got back. I don't know what their consistent like starting rotation looks like, but if it's 6 women, then it's okay.
Also temporary.
Yes, very much. Get your feet wet. Get you cool. You all right? Let's go.
Yeah.
What is their roster?
Having Skylar Diggins-Smith still there,
yes,
is going to be helpful. Gabby Williams, there's going to be familiarity there. Yep. Obviously, French national team. That
Alicia
matters.
Clark. She's got vets. Alicia, Lexi Brown,
Erica
Wheeler. E. Wheel is there. Katie Lou Lee. Hey, and quietly, Lee Yarou is going to keep developing.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have a solid roster. I don't know who started for them continuously though last season. But
I'll check right now. But like
I'm thinking Sky, Ezzy, NECA, Gabby, probably Dominique.
I'd be looking to starter. Jay comments back, Sky, Gabby, question mark, NECA, Ezzy. Would the question mark be Dominique? Are you going to go that big?
It's either, if it's not Dominique, then it's Alicia Clark. Maybe it's Katie Lou, but
I feel like whoever, if it's not, I guess our point is, Jay, if it's not Dominique, it'll be a placeholder until she's ready. And if it is her, then, look out. Also,
very feet to the fire.
8 teams make the playoffs out of 13. Eventually, it will be 16 sometime down the line. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. As far as starters last year, it was Jewel, obviously, who's no longer there. NECA, Skylar Diggins-Smith, Ezzy, and Gabby Williams started in the latter portion following the Olympics. Victoria Vivens got a bunch of starts, and Jordan Horston got 14 starts as well. So it was a little bit of a revolving door in that 5th spot, which you could see early on, or they could just go with the rookie right away. And honestly, I would just go with Malonga right away, unless she's just absolutely not ready and she needs time, which is fine because of age and just being a rookie and things of that nature.
That
which is why I said I said rookie of the year. I think will likely, like, Paige has a clear pathway to that. She'll have the usage and all that stuff. But 5 years from now, or even 3 years from now, like, Dominique is going to be insane.
And that is I guess that is a big starting group if you slot Malonga in there. And that's probably, they went and got Erica Wheeler in her contract, so you have to find minutes there.
She can come off the bench too.
Yeah, so they have some optionality.
Yeah, which is good. Okay, we touched on the top 2 picks. Madhouse DMI, we're gonna get to your question a little bit later. I want to first toss it to you, Siobhan. What is what stood out to you the most here? Like, what is the main thing on your list? Because you took notes and I took notes, and I've already gone through a little bit of them. What is the thing that stands out to you the most? Because we're not going to obviously go pick by pick, because then we'll be here for 24 hours. I'm not at the point yet where I should be doing that on stream. So what's the thing that stood out to you next that you want to talk about the most from the draft?
From the first round, right?
Yes.
I'm thinking it's got to be Yuste Yochite going 5 for Golden State.
First surprise of the draft.
How many people have that? But then, Golden State is just continuing to lean into like just the international, flavor, and I think it's good. But yeah, I think that was kind of what surprised me early on. Sonia to DC, I love. Kiki, I love. Georgia to DC, I love. I think DC has a really solid group of youth to kind of just go forward with. I don't know if Brittany Sykes stays around and, helps guide them or what have you, but I like what they did in the first round. Shout out to Anissa Morrow going to Connecticut. I think she landed in probably one of the most optimal spots that she could land. Talk to some people. I have my own thoughts, and I think the idea of kind of her size and her positional style, what that looks like in the W. She's not going to be a 4. She's going to eventually have to move out to the 3, but she's still working on all of the guard aspects of that, right? All of the handling, all of the shooting. But Connecticut, there's no pressure there. She's going to have a great vet in Tina Charles. Quietly, I think Marina Maybury as a big guard will be someone really good for Anissa to kind of help her continue to mold and craft her game to her body and to what her abilities may or may not be at this level. Sanaya going to Connecticut hurt me very badly because I so deeply wanted Sanaya Rivers in Chicago. In the first round, I wanted, so I had like a kind of 4. It was Sanaya, Sarah Ashley Barker, Georgia, or I was kind of interested in where Cheyenne Sellers would fall or not fall. I've held the belief all like pre-draft that if this isn't a class that's super star laden, that isn't super transformational talent-wise, then I don't understand I think that there's just then more of an impetus to just go and get what you want. If you want a slashy wing and you think you see one that you want and that you like that's there, go get it. If you want a stretch big and one is there for you to get, but she's projected at 11 and maybe you have pick 8, go get it. Like go get the girl and see from there. Aisha, I'm gonna say her last name wrong, Sivka, from Slovenia, that Chicago did end up taking. I do really like.
I think you got the last name. I think you got the last name right.
Good for me. Again, a pick and pop big, stretch big. I'd be interested in what they're going to, how they finagle their front court depth now, while also picking up Maddie Westbell in the second round, who I also love. Hailey Van Lith is back with Angel. That's something.
Okay. That's a big one. We should pause on that
one. We can pull over.
Angel Reese. I'm not gonna pull up the tweet. I actually should pull up the draft as we're talking about it, so people could like look at the board with with us, which I'm going to do in a sec once I finish talking because it's clunky to do both at the same time. A little behind the
Do you
scenes.
have it? I can send you the link for it.
No, I have it. I have it right in front of me.
Okay.
I just got to share the screen. Hailey Van Lith. So Angel Reese tweeted out, I don't know if you saw this. Angel Reese tweeted out like something to the effect of, "Hey, we didn't really do it right the first time, so let's try again. Let's run it back."
Yeah, let's run it back.
For people who remember the LSU experience, kind
I
of hurt.
respect it.
It hurt Hailey's draft stock, and she was able to get it back because she had a really good year this year. As a scorer, as a playmaker, as an engine on offense. Defense is where she's going to have the most questions in the next level. At the next level, we'll see what that looks like. But Chicago's got a lot of interesting young players. They're going to be one of the teams that people care about the most because of just the sheer names. But they have an interesting mix of players that I think are worth a couple of minutes of extrapolation. You mentioned Sivka, obviously Hailey Van Lith, Angel Reese, Camila Cardoso. Did not bring back Kennedy Carter, who's not on the team right now. And they're a coaching change also that was a little surprising, but they still look like a team that's going in the right direction. How do you feel like their draft today? Because they're probably one of the teams who I think people would say they did really well in this draft. How do you feel like their draft today is pushed? Do you disagree?
No, I agree, but I think a lot of people would disagree. I saw a lot of rapid reactions and wishing that they had made, some different moves. They picked up, again, Aisha, that people were like, huh? I think the Hailey Van Lith redemption tour did a lot of work, but there's still some, I don't know,
residuals.
People
who haven't seen her since Caitlin Clark lit her up in the
maybe
Final Four.
Right. I think a lot of people questioned them drafting again. They went and got another big, and we know that they have some bigs already in tow. But and the coaching change. Shout out Tyler. Shout out my guy. I'm very excited for him. And the type of guy that I know him to be. And what he really wants to do with this group. But yeah, man, they've got some pieces. You didn't talk about Arella, who's here now. Again, went and got Ariel Atkins with the number 3 pick in that trade. I think Courtney Vandersteel.
How dare I forget about Arella Garantes, Puerto Rican national team legend.
Come on, man.
You know what I mean? Like, also New York legend. You know what I mean?
You're slipping.
Yeah. I mean, I
think Sloot's going to be great for Hailey.
Just needs to be more efficient as a shot creator. But I'm excited about her being back in the W. I think
she played well. Arella played well in China summer with Camilla, and so there's some synergy there. I'm a huge Michaela Onyenwere fan, and so yeah, Elizabeth Williams is back healthy. Shout out her. Shout out 757. And yeah, they too have some optionality and a couple different ways that they can, manufacture and go about putting together their lineups.
So here we have the first round. This is what we were just going through right here. I do think a lot of people were excited about Dallas just sort of ending the first round also with James here. And I don't think Connecticut's going to be like really good. I do like their 2 first-round picks here with Anissa Morrow and Sanaya Rivers. And I want to get to now. Let's go to the second round. Let's talk about
again. Shout out Dallas. Shout out Isaiah James. Shout out the 757. Shout out the Crib.
Madison Scott also goes there early in the second round. Okay. Aaliyah Nye was a little surprising to Vegas for me. 13th overall. I did not think... Because there were a bunch of other players who were, I guess, mocked higher. You would say, like, some people thought, Te-Hina Pau doesn't go in the first round. Maybe this seems like the Vegas pick, but they didn't go in that direction. Pau actually falls a little bit more than I thought she would. She goes 18 to Atlanta, which I thought was really interesting. I think Koulibaly in Chicago, who we just talked about, and Maddie Westbeld, like, I like all their draft picks, Chicago, actually, in this draft, which is very interesting. And then you have over here, we mentioned Sellers going to Golden State. like
Yeah.
you have, I guess the theme of this draft is kind of like you have these rebuilding teams who may not be rebuilding for that long, getting
Yeah.
all these young players, young talents, or whatever. Like, what's your biggest takeaway as we go deeper in the draft and you look at round two, and we could scroll and look at round three as well. But like, do you find that there could be a lot of sleepers in a draft that was presumably deep going into it?
I don't know that I don't know that sleepers is the word. When I think of sleeper, well, maybe. If a sleeper is just someone who, because I'm trying to think, like if a sleeper is someone who is just going to come into maybe an unexpected situation and contribute, or at least show worth and um I don't know, man. I don't know that I think that there are a bunch of sleepers, but I do feel like there should be a decent amount of glue from this draft that actually do make some of their rosters. I think I would agree on the idea of Te-Hina falling, being a little bit surprising. Um Koulibaly, I've got to watch more on her.
She's good. I
Cheyenne,
think she's raw, but I think she
is that
can.
Bilal's sister?
You know what? I don't know because
Because
she's
I
from
think I
Mali, but I feel
maybe
like
I
she
just
he
made that up,
does.
but I
I think he does have a relative that plays also.
yeah, I think Tahina falling a bit more than people thought
Oh,
was
he's of
interesting.
Malian descent. They're probably related.
I think that yeah, okay. Maddie again, I really like Maddie. I think that there are people that should make their rosters and again just contribute to the overall filling out of these teams. But also this is the last year of the CBA and you
Mm,
have two more
yes.
teams coming in over the next 2 seasons. So there's going to be more upheaval, more expansion drafting. And so, I think the task for the majority of this class is just prove that you belong. You might not be with the team that drafted you for long, but make the most of your minutes, show that you have legitimate like WNBA worth. Like Leah Two King was taken, I think, in the third round by the Sparks. And I really like Leah Two King, and I think she's someone that could actually make their roster a bit undersized for probably the position she'll be playing, but does so many things well. I think there is just a lot of people in this roster or in this class that do things well, and
Yeah.
there are enough teams that need those things.
We'll go to Madhouse now because you asked this before. Hope you're still watching. Top scorers last year: Caitlin, Juju, and Lucy. Why isn't Stephanie understanding this? Stephanie White, meaning that Kaylin Clark and Lucy are scoring machines. So Madhouse DMI doesn't seem happy that Lucy Olson from Iowa does not go to the Indiana Fever and instead is here at 23 for people who can see on the board to the Washington Mystics, another team who is probably on the rebuilding track. Lucy Olson last year played at Iowa after transferring from Villanova, scored 18 points a game, shot the three ball pretty well. Not a ton of volume, but about 5 threes a game. So that's not nothing. That's decent. 36% from three, which is good. And on top of that, 5 assists per game. She goes in the second round. I figured she would go in the second round. She goes to Washington. I don't really have a great answer, Madhouse. What I would tell you is that, Indiana went with Bree Hall instead. And I think Bree Hall and Michaela Timpson, which
Yeah,
both of whom I think are going to add some toughness, some athleticism.
yeah.
I don't know how much either of them are going to play because Indiana's also sneaky deep, along with being like more talented this
It's
year.
not really sneaky. Like Indiana made
That's
moves. Like
Atlanta. I meant
Indiana's gonna
Indiana.
be
That's
Indiana. Nah, I know what you meant. Indiana has a roster.
yeah. No, Indiana's legit. They'll as I'm planning on doing this weekly during the WNBA season. So you'll be getting more texts from me. I'm letting you know right now.
I got
But as this happens, Indiana will be one of the teams most talked about for legitimately basketball reasons,
you. Yeah, for
not
sure.
just because they have like
Yeah, not just
more
well,
fans and things of that nature in every single game on national television. I think. Moses,
yeah.
any info on Minnesota's picks? So you did
I
just
don't have
mention
anything on who Minnesota picked.
Yeah, you did. I thought you just mention one. But we have from Russia, we have Anastasia Kosu. Um, this is hilarious right here. You don't see this very often. Minnesota links from Chicago via 3 trades. Yeah, that pick does move around a ton.
Yeah.
Um, and other than that, Minnesota. So we go to the third round here. You get Aubrey Griffin late. For people who don't like follow the W super closely,
I do like Aubrey Griffin.
third round picks like have a tough hill to climb. Um, I don't know. We can get into like the discussion that people have about like should there be a G League, should there be this, that, and the
No.
third. I think the rosters should be bigger at least before you can start
Yes.
talking about developmental and things of that nature. But I think for Minnesota, you know, I just didn't do a ton here. But I also think, and also Delia Daniels. But the team, they're going to be very good again. I think.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know much about either of them. I have a good feeling though on Minnesota's play style and losing Chechi Xander to the Valkyries.
hmm.
Um, I think is a quiet little gap for them. And Cheryl likes to be fluid. Cheryl likes a really dynamic offense. She likes a really, really connected defense. And so, I don't see them again. I don't have much information on Anastasia, but I don't see them taking anyone that doesn't, kind of immediately just fall in line with what they want to do. They are a fairly established roster. Um, and again, just with an identity. And so I trust them from a roster construction standpoint to, kind of just continue to honor
Mm.
uh,
Jay makes a good
their
point.
established
Did,
identity.
that they, about them getting Carly Samuelson. That's a thing that
Big, big.
happened as
Yep,
well.
it is.
Uh,
You were talking about Leonide at Vegas too. I watched a lot of Leonide in Alabama because I was watching Say Green and Sarah Ashley Barker. Super quick, super quick release.
mm,
Um, More consistent than streaky. Um, and maybe there's questions of like dynamicism and whether or not handle, and she's not a creator or she isn't someone who should be looked to for like shot creation of her own or necessarily doing too much playmaking. I don't think, at least not at W level, but from a 3 and D, like
mm-hmm. Yeah.
if that's who you're helping off of, that's your low man help, and that's who you're choosing to leave, that's on you. If you're doubling from her one pass away in the post, like that's on you, and she's probably gonna make you pay for it. I think that's a good one for Vegas.
One thing you notice in W more is you see a lot of family ties here. Also, like Yvonne Edgem, uh,
Yeah.
she has to be related to Melvin Edgem, who's been on the Canadian men's national basketball team, who's
Yep.
also really, really, really good college player.
Yep.
Really good college player for people who don't know. We got asked about Caitlin Chen earlier. We'll pull up that. Not asked about, just a reaction to
Yeah.
Caitlin Chen. Golden State, who drafts Caitlin Chen here in the third round at 30 overall. Caitlin Chen came out from the crowd, a little bit of a crowd favorite, obviously. Uh, Joins a team that has like just, I think Golden State, I don't know how many games they're going to win, but they're going to be a lot of fun to watch. I was saying this after the expansion draft where they got like Temi Fogbinlay and obviously,
Love Timmy.
yes, Julie Van Loo, Tiffany Hayes, Kayla Thornton, which is a sneaky, like big loss for the Liberty, who I think they'll be able to manage. But Kayla Thornton was a good one there. Stephanie Talbot, Monique Billings, and then obviously the rookies that they got today. Like Golden State's an interesting team to me to watch, and I think of the rebuilding teams, who's the one that you'll probably have your eye on the closest between, that be, I guess, Chicago, Connecticut, Washington, Golden State, who I don't know if you're rebuilding if you're in your first year, but you get the point.
Um, Probably DC. Chicago is always gonna be, my team A.
Mm.
I guess Chicago is always gonna be my team A. I would say DC. very, very excited or interested in seeing what they put together, what the product actually comes together to look like on the court. Um, I just feel so bad for Connecticut.
Mm.
Like they're still a professional organization. These are women who are still being paid money to play professional basketball, and it's just like Connecticut, the perpetual, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. And then all
Yeah.
the bridesmaids just left. They said, you know what, fuck this. I'm tired of being second. Like I just
Well, to be fair, they kind of had to, because
yeah.
like
Some things run its course.
it
Some
was
things
it
like
was it was
it was time.
it was everyone's seemingly last year of their contract.
Yeah.
And Connecticut was like, look, man, like we did what we could with this core,
Yeah.
and it's time to reload, because if you run it back with that core, led by obviously Alyssa Thomas, DJ Carrington, God, like I really liked that team defensively for years,
Yeah.
but they just had to do it, and now
And you know what? And where do a lot of them they end up going places with excuse me,
mhm,
with resources like
yeah,
Phoenix, DB to Indiana, and it's tough. The Sun are, I don't know what the legal words behind it are, but they're tethered, to the Mohican tribe, the Mohican community in
mhm.
that area, and so their arena is for tribal and community use also. So we saw, them
Also
having
about
to
also
practice
very
during the playoffs on a half court or like with the court divider,
yeah.
because so I think that they face a little bit of a battle just kind of in their, I don't know, maybe their organizational infrastructure and just all of that.
Yeah, also a
But
very, very
love it.
well-known boxing venue as well. I would know that. Um,
Good
Look,
for you.
boxing is a big in casinos. And the Mohegan
Yes.
Sun is
Yep.
ultimately a casino.
Yep.
Let's get into something that you want. Oh, and also salute to Morgan Tuck, who's a GM as well.
Salute Morgan Tuck, man.
I just remembered that. I wanted
Shout
to
out
ask you this.
Darius too.
Let's pull up the first round back before we get out of here. And any questions, comments, super chats, leave them. As always, we'll get to some more before we get up out of here. One thing I want to ask you, Siobhan, because you brought this up to me before, is something we could do. In the first round here, or really any pick at all, is there anyone in particular, or it could be multiple players that you would replace? Like any pick where you're like, hey, I feel like this team should have went in this direction
Ooh.
instead, or something along those lines. Obviously you're not going to do it with one or two, because we've already talked about why that is.
Yeah.
But are there
Um,
any other changes you would make if you could, like, maybe take a couple prospects and swap
I
teams or
think the
something along those
first
lines?
four are solid. I'm not familiar enough with you stay to have
She's good. She's
the
good.
type of educated opinion that
From what
I
I've seen in FIBA, she can play. I was surprised she went
believe in.
fifth, but again, Golden
Yeah.
State's just getting a lot of fun players who can create and things of that nature.
I love Vanessa where she is. Again, I really, really wanted Sanaya and Ashley, Sarah Ashley in Chicago.
Mm.
Um,
Sarah Ashley also went like a few spots earlier than I thought, but maybe I'm
I
off
think
on that.
most people probably feel that way, but that girl balled her ass out. Their last game, I think Zay Green fouled out, Aaliyah Nye fouled out, and I think she went to like 2 overtimes by herself. Like she put all of Alabama on her back. And listen, Sarah Ashley Barker. No offense, I love everybody. Sarah Ashley Barker is such a great white lady name. That's such a great white girl name. Like it just is. She feels wholesome. Shout out to Alabama.
She's from Birmingham, I think. Also,
Come on, man. Like I
yeah,
think they got him a good one in LA.
yeah.
Someone said LA clearly has a type. I'm like, pretty and like versatile, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. I think the first round is pretty fine given given the way that things went ahead of some picks. I think things make a lot of sense.
LA is also a fun rebuild team for me.
Yes.
Fun rebuild team. Kelsey
Yes.
Plum, Ari McDonald,
Yep. You got Kelsey,
Rakia,
Ari, Rakia, Cam, Sarah Ashley,
De'Erica.
maybe, I guess. Azare, like there, I'm super excited for them too, man. I don't know, man. I just let's
Do you feel like?
start the
Do you
season.
feel like? Do you feel like? Do you feel like it's early to say, but do you feel like everyone in the first round just like this is who they should have gotten? Like they kind of just nailed it, all of them. If you say that, there's probably never going to be a draft again. We'll be able to say that about.
I didn't see Sarah Ashley to the Sparks, just given what they already have positionally in the front court. I didn't. I did not see Connecticut taking Sanaya, but I'm not mad that they did. I think I just don't want her there. Um, Dallas, Dallas taking Isaiah, I think is interesting just from a play style perspective. Ball dominant, Enrique's ball dominant, but I know that Enrique can be off ball. I know Isaiah can be off ball. And I think NC State's offense over the course of this past season just felt a little like very chaotic at bits, but I don't know. Like I'm not putting that squarely on her or Sanaya's hands. I'm not putting that on Zoe Brooks' hands. Like I just, that kind of looked what they looked like. But I think the first round, I think people got what they needed or what they felt they needed, or what they felt was best available to them.
Okay, let me be done with the draft at this point. The graphic portion of it. Any questions? We will take them on our way out the door. Anything else you want to add, Siobhan, before we get up out of here? Also, regarding this experience,
I do one more time. I gotta shout out the home team, man. Like you think of women's basketball, you have your New Yorks, your Chicago's and Midwest, and like your DMV area, and like the 757, the Tidewater area. One is not the DMV, but two, just quietly just produces women's basketball talent, and we have for such a long time. Shout out Sugar Rogers, who was coaching with William and Mary, who is now on the Golden State staff. Played for the Liberty back in the day. Sugar was a fucking bucket.
Oh wow!
I miss playing Sugar in high school was so fun. E. Will.
I interviewed
Elizabeth
her when she was
Williams.
at the Liberty multiple times. Also, she was an all-star the one year that I covered her. Actually,
Sugar was a dog. Shout out
2017.
Elizabeth Williams.
That was my first one of my first media experiences, actually. So shout out to the 2017 Liberty. They were all good to me. Bria Hartley, especially.
Fiona Fitzgerald. There's just like so many people who have kind of come through the 757, whether or not they stuck on NB or on W rosters or not. But again, like Isaiah James, JJ Quinterly, I'm so happy for them. They had a watch party back home. Like the AAU teams back home had a watch party for them. And I thought that was so dope. And again, one more thing, shout out Diamond Johnson.
Just got a question about her.
Can Diamond Johnson make a roster? See, I don't know. Like that's my dog. Really, like legitimately one of my youngins, kind of from the area too. And I think the fear with Diamond is her size. She's a shorter guard, but she's husky. But she works. She works extremely hard. She understands kind of what her limitations are, and is willing to do what needs to be done to. I don't know, man, to just kind of move past them. And I hope she makes a roster. But we've seen small guards or in guards who have different play styles and Diamond kind of struggle. Like Jalen Sherrod took a little bit before she stuck with the Liberty. They don't have a similar body type or anything, but it's not uncommon. I hope she makes a roster. Shout out Diamond. Shout out Norfolk State, and again the 7-5.
People should know in the coming days and weeks, but especially the coming days, we'll be hearing about training camp contracts, training camp additions, things of that nature.
So bunch of training camp invites.
Yeah, teams still have to fill out rosters. So if Diamond Johnson and anyone else who went undrafted or just players who were out of the league trying to get back into the league, as I mentioned, Bria Hartley earlier, for example, like anybody, like they'll be looking to potentially get onto some of these rosters and potentially have an opportunity. Things happen. We have
It's tough, man. Like you said, they don't need a G League, but they do need kind of an expanded roster pool.
This is definitely a troll comment, but in the 50th minute, I think certain things are funny and acceptable. WNBA draft was good overall, and I think the scary thing is Olivia Miles going back sort of signals like, oh, next year's draft is going to be good, and then the year after it's going to be the Juju Watkins draft.
Olivia went back. Raven went back. I know people feel how they feel about Raven Johnson, but whatever. Raven went back. But yeah, then after that, you have Juju. You got the sophomore class, the Hannahs, the Michaela Williams, the freaking like this.
Full
the
Wiley.
W in the
Full Wiley will be in the Juju draft as well. Who's in the transfer portal now?
Malaysia, right? Oh my god, I know that's such a thing.
I know.
I have transfer portal feelings. Like we're losing so much of the integrity, but get y'all's money, man. Whatever. I get it.
Yeah.
I need to go fill out my NCAA paperwork. I need some of these NIL reparations. Man.
Bobby, come back tomorrow at 1 p.m. We'll have a NBA playoff preview. Where we'll be getting into all that stuff. Matt Moore and I will be here on the channel. We'll be live and we'll be talking about Pistons, Knicks, and everything else as it relates to the NBA. And by the way, Siobhan covers some of that too, so you should follow her on social media.
When I'm active, child, yeah. I have not done much of anything.
When active, see, I'm bringing
boy basketball, man. Boy, you actually are, but boy basketball has just not kept me for
boy basketball.
Boy basketball, like what? Who needs that anymore?
Thankfully, the playoffs are here and it's about to pick up. The play-in starts tomorrow. Yeah. That's Siobhan Beslow. Follow her on social media. Tweet at her and let her know that you want to hear her takes on stuff because I think she's great and y'all should too.
When people ask, I'll do stuff. And I just have to do things unprompted. I'm like, nobody wants to hear me say things.
I feel that way also. Yes, Bobby, come back tomorrow 1 a.m. It's scheduled on the channel. You can hit save. We'll be back on the channel tomorrow at 1 to preview the NBA playoffs with Matt Moore, my guy and colleague from Action Network. And then after that, I'm going to record Buckets with him, which is for the Action Network. So busy recorded schedule. Follow me on social media as well at Bryan Fonseca NY and on BlueSky. We're doing a lot of Knicks Pistons playoff coverage because the Post is going to have me in studio for a lot of that. So I'm going to need a lot of tea because I'm going to be talking a lot. Thank you all for watching. And if you watched